Hey everyone, this is Logs Day 12. So we're going to continue with solving exponential functions. But for today, we cannot turn our bases into the same number. So I've got 2 to the x equals 7 cubed. Okay, so there's no way that I can turn a 2 into a 7 or a 7 into a 2. So for this one, I can't use the method that we used for Logs Day 11. I have to do something different. So another way that we know how to solve exponentials is to turn them into logs. So when we turn something into the log, remember we need 3 numbers, right? We need our base, we need our exponent, and we need a number over on the side here. So because this has an exponent, I want to evaluate that. I want to find what that is equal to. So I'm just going to plug into my calculator 7 cubed. So I've got 2 to the x equals 343. Now that I have 3 numbers here, I have my base, my exponent, and the number on the other side. Now I can change this into a log. So remember, for our logs, we put our base on the bottom, okay, and then we swap these other 2 numbers. So it's going to be log base 2 of 343 is equal to x. Okay, so now we have everything on the left-hand side equal to x over here. And remember, we can't type this into our calculator because there's a 2 as the base here. There's no way to change the base of a log in your calculator. So we just have to do change of base, which if we remember, the base goes in the basement, the base goes in the bottom. So it's gonna be log of 343 divided by log of 2 is equal to x. And we're just going to round everything to the nearest thousandth, or 3 decimal places. So I'm just typing in my calculator log of 343 divided by log of 2. Make sure you're closing those parentheses. And we should get x equals 8.422. And that's our final answer for question number 1. Okay, so again, you can't get the bases the same. So you're just going to try to rewrite it as a log. And to rewrite it as a log, you need to make sure that everything is simplified. Up here, we need our 3 numbers so that we can just rewrite and then do change of base. Okay, so for question number 2, we are going to do 6 to the x minus 1 equals 3. Okay, and again, I've got my 3 different numbers here because I can count this x minus 1. That's a whole thing together. So that's 1 for the base, 2 for the exponent, and 3 for the number over here. So I'm going to rewrite this as a log because it's already simplified as much as it possibly can be. So my base is 6, and then the 3 comes to the other side equals x minus 1. Okay, so over here, different from question number 1, is I have this minus 1 over here. So in order to get x by itself, I'm going to have to add this 1 to both sides. Add this 1 to both sides. So what I'm going to end up doing is my change of base. So log of 3 divided by log of 6, and then I'm going to add 1 to it, and that's going to give me what x is equal to. Okay, so in your calculator, you can do this all at once, but you need to make sure that you're plugging it in correctly because we are not allowed to round until the very, very end. So I would suggest doing what we just did over here. Hit enter and then add 1. So I'm doing log of 3, close that parenthesis, divided by log of 6, hit enter. And you should get 0.613147 and so on. Then in your calculator, without rounding that, add 1. So our final answer should be x equals 1.613. And there's our final answer. Okay. All right, moving on to question number 3. Okay, so for question number 3, I've got -1 plus 3 to the x equals 5. Okay, so in here, remember you need those 3 numbers. So I have this extra -1 here, so I need to add that to the other side first. So I've got 3 to the x equals 6. Now I can rewrite. So I've got log base 3 of 6 equals x. Then I'm just doing the change of base like I have been the whole time. So I've got log of 6 divided by log of 3 is equal to x. I'm plugging that into my calculator. Log 6 divided by log 3, and I'm rounding to 3 decimal places, so I get 1.631. And there's our final answer. Okay, so make sure you get your 3 numbers, rewrite it into a log, do your change of base, and solve for your answer. Okay, last one. Sorry, I'm getting a little cramped over here, making sure I have enough space. So for question number 4, I've got 4 plus 8 to the 2x plus 5 equals 9. Okay, so this one is very similar to question number 3, but I've got a little more going on in the exponent here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get this 4 needs to move over to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. So now I have 8 to the 2x plus 5 equals 5. Now I'm going to rewrite into a log. So I've got log base 8 of 5 equals 2x plus 5. Okay, so in our calculator, we can do this first and then solve. Just make sure that you are not rounding this until the very, very end. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this as a change of base. So I've got log of 5 divided by log of 8 is equal to 2x plus 5. Okay, I'm going to leave this written like this, just so we know we're not rounding until the very end. So now to solve for x over here, I would do the same thing that I would normally do. So I would subtract 5 from both sides here. So I've got log of 5 divided by log of 8 minus 5 equals 2x. Okay, and then to get rid of this 2, I'm going to divide everything by 2. I'm dividing the whole thing by 2. Okay, so you are doing this in 3 steps. I know this looks a little complicated here, but you just need to make sure that you are doing it in your calculator in 3 steps. So you're doing log of 5 divided by log of 8. You're finding that first, okay? And you should get something like 0.773976, and it keeps going, okay? Just by doing log 5 divided by log 8. Did this piece right here. Now I'm going to be subtracting 5, so I subtract 5 in my calculator, and I get negative 4.226. I am not rounding. We need to keep that number in our calculator. Then we are dividing it by 2. So my final answer is x equals negative 2.113. That is my final answer. Make sure you are doing those steps in the correct order. I'm doing dividing the logs, doing the change of base, then I'm subtracting 5, and then I'm dividing by 2. Okay, so make sure you're doing that in the correct order, and this is the answer that you should get. Okay, so for all of these questions, first, you need to get rid of those extra little pieces if they're there. Then you just need to change it into a log, and you need to do change of base and just solve for your exponent. Okay, so make sure you're following those steps for every single question. Make sure you're following those steps for your homework, and I will see you guys back for logs day 13.